Today, Dr. Irene and I on Two Blonde Shrinks are going to talk about ghosting. Okay, for all of y'all out there who don't know what ghosting is.
Texas came out.
The Texan came out for a second. Okay, so you all, so much easier to say y'all.
Y'all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why we do it. So all y'all out there who don't know what ghosting is a form of basically abandoning communication between another person. We see this happening way more often than not. It seems like it's happening in the dating world. It's happening in the friendship world. It's happening over text message. It's basically like you talk to someone one day and the next day they are a ghost.
Talking to you.
They evaporate into thin air and they don't talk to you anymore without any rhyme or reason. I think I need to add that in.
Sorry, they evaporate.
They do. That's why it's called ghosting.
I like it.
They're like a ghost. They were in your life and now they're ghosts.
They don't come back to haunt you, unfortunately. They just disappear.
Maybe they do, like emotionally, because you're left with the question mark of why did this person not respond to me?
Okay, I get that. But what if you just don't want to explain yourself to someone and they've just fucked up so bad that you're just like, ugh, I don't want to talk to you anymore?
Say, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, but what if you tell them that, then it's going to open up a different can of worms? You're not really ghosting them. You're just kind of like slowly letting them go.
Well, I think there's a way to exit stage left with people. Or is it stage right, Tony?
Exit
stage right.
Just exit
Thank
the
you.
stage.
I was not a theater person. Exit stage right out of someone's life. I think there's an effective way to do that without ghosting.
Okay, so as I've gotten older, I do not have the capacity to explain myself or to confront most people. I just don't want to deal with them. Maybe I've been ghosting people now, I'm thinking. That really sucks. I'm sorry if I've ghosted you. I didn't really mean to. I just don't really want to have a conversation about things that I feel like you should have common sense for.
At the core of ghosting, because I had to go back in our psych notes on all of this, is an avoidant personality. It is somebody who does not want to deal with conflict, who is uncomfortable with conflict. It either gives them anxiety, and so they would rather just not talk about it.
We had that happen.
Yes, we did.
How do we resolve it? We just called each other.
You just call it out.
Yeah, we did.
What's up? Why am I not hearing from you?
Yeah, sometimes you need time, though. Do you think, like, is there like a time limit when it comes to ghosting? You know what I mean? Because sometimes you're just like trying to gather your thoughts and you're not in the best headspace. So you're like, wait, just like give me some time and then we can talk about it. Is that ghosting?
No. If you're telling someone, I need time, I need a break, I need some time to myself, I need a minute, that's not ghosting. It's literally like leaving someone dangling and confused of what's going on with you. It's unresolved on the other end of that phone or text message. It's basically like the other person's left with a question mark. Like, well, I was talking to this person, all of a sudden
I feel like you're dumped
or confused.
Yeah. That's so sad. I wonder if people do that in like relationships.
100%.
Oh my God. How sad is that? Can you imagine you're like dating someone and then all of a sudden they just disappear off the face of the earth?
This happens all the time.
Abandonment.
Yes, somebody will abandon someone else because they're afraid to confront them on their whatever feelings come up around that conversation. Like, here's an example. Mm-hmm. You go on a date with someone, they're really nice, but you just don't have any chemistry, and they're hitting you up the next day and they're really into you. What do?
You tell them you're busy.
Okay, that's at least something. But the person who doesn't respond ghosts them.
Oh, I've done that before.
That's worse than saying.
That's so sad. I'm
in
sorry
my eyes.
If I've ghosted you.
I mean, I'm still here. I'm not that.
Not you.
Oh, me? Oh, you're talking about someone
When I
else.
started dating, I was like, I'm busy. I just like stopped responding, but I didn't realize I was ghosting people. That's sad.
So let's talk about a sweet letdown.
Yeah. How do we let someone down sweetly?
Okay, so is a white lie letdown appropriate, where you're like, I'm just really busy at this point in my life. I'm feeling like I don't really want to date anyone, but the truth is you're just not the right person.
That's fine. I mean, I think that's better than saying you're not the right person.
What would happen if you did say that?
That's mean.
But is it worse to say that or to
No,
not
because
say
ignorance
anything?
is bliss. Sometimes people don't need to hear that they're not the right person, because what if that person already has issues and you're just like, telling someone you're not the right person is very hurtful, rather than, you know what, I'm just not going to date anymore. I'm just not into it. The chemistry's not there. It's me.
I'm opposite of you on this one. So I would rather know that I've been rejected from the job than wonder why I don't hear back from the job.
Oh, when it comes to me, if somebody was going to reject me, I want them to tell me. It won't hurt my feelings. But
So why
I
would
wouldn't
you do
do
it
that
differently for anyone else?
I don't know, because I care about people's feelings and I just like don't want to let
But
them
you're
down.
not actually helping someone when you ghost them. It's
Oh.
actually better to let someone down in a nice way than to leave them hanging confused as to what happened.
You're right. You are right.
Because at the end of all of this, it's an avoidant personality who has poor communication skills and doesn't want to deal with their uncomfortable emotions. Those are the ghosters.
Yes, and we do that to our families and friends too. It's not only in like intimate relationships. A family is even harsher. Like when you just like stop talking to a family member.
It can be. And look, I think we're all maybe victims, or not victims.
We're victims. It's okay.
Or maybe we're victims of ghosting, or maybe we've done ghosting. But I think the purpose of doing this episode is to get people aware of what it is and aware of the behaviors that they may or may not be engaging in.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things to do to mitigate it? Sometimes it is okay not to respond. Maybe. I don't know, because every situation is different.
I think that you just have to kind of feel out who the person is in front of you, because sometimes you could be dealing with a really crazy person and the last thing you want to tell them is that you're not good enough. So I would say maybe feel out who the person is in front of you and just tell them really kindly, like, look, it's just not working out. Maybe we could stay friends or something, but I'm just like not going to be into it. I'm not into it. I definitely think you need to figure out who the person is in front of you before you give them the brutal truth. But then I think as I said, the older I get, at least, there's some things that are like common sense in friendships when it comes to not dating, but friendships, where it's like, if this person is constantly doing stupid shit to piss me off, I'm just like not going to talk to them anymore because I don't want to mother them. So that's my advice.
How do you take it when somebody ghosts you? Let's say you're talking to someone and then you text them or they don't respond to you. How do you respond to the non-responder? How do you internalize it?
So that's a really good question, actually. It's changed over time since I've gotten older. I think I'm more sensitive when it comes to someone if I'm dating them than if it's like a friend or a family member. If it's a friend or family member, I'll be like, well, I know how it is to be busy. As long as they get back to me, that's fine. But if it's someone I'm dating, I'm just like, do you not love me anymore? Like my abandonment issues kick in.
We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah. But I don't think I've ever been ghosted before. And if I have, I was just like, okay, weirdo.
You've never had someone not respond to a text message and just all of a sudden you just stop talking to them?
Oh my God, one of my best friends who lives in Texas, actually. I hope you're listening to my podcast. But yeah, you like straight up stopped, like literally out of nowhere. Like, and then she would just like, oh my God, yes.
You've been ghosted, girlfriend.
That's so annoying. Oh wow. But that was bad. We were friends for like 20 years. And all of a sudden,
you started dating someone?
I started dating someone and she just like stopped talking to me. And I was like, what's going on? So I got worried. I got so worried. I was texting her, calling her, FaceTiming her. Nothing. And then she just texted me and she was like, I'm going to come to LA. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, when? Let me know. Didn't respond to me. She still follows me on Instagram, still watches all my videos, everything, but doesn't respond to me. So I'm so confused.
That's the thing.
That is so weird.
They leave you.
Why are you doing that?
It leaves. So the avoidant personality has like a whirling dervish of emotions, and they don't know how to deal with them. And what the irony is that when they ghost you, they leave you with the whirling dervish of emotions that you don't even know how to make sense of.
Yeah, I was very confused.
But you've been ghosted.
Yeah, by my really, 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 really good friend of like 20 years.
Okay, so what was the underlying emotion when you got ghosted? Like, what's the first feeling that comes to mind?
What happened? Is she okay?
It was about her, like,
yeah,
confusion
I never
then.
I was confused because I was hoping she was okay.
Yeah.
But then I saw her posting and like traveling online and I was like, oh, maybe she doesn't have service. Then I would start to make excuses. And then there was a moment where I felt not good enough and that she was like dumping me. And then I realized it's not about me, it's about her. And then I just like stopped responding to her. I was like, whatever.
So that's so important what you just said.
Like the reel of emotions.
If you've been ghosted by somebody else, it's a terrible feeling because you're left with confusion. The messaging on that is you're just not that important.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't have resolve. I think for human beings, it's so important to have resolve in relationships because we're always seeking something concrete. And when it's like this question, we're left with a question mark. It's so unsettling.
Yeah, nobody wants to have the a bunch of unknown. That's anxiety provoking.
But what you said was so important, which is that it's all about her stuff and not about you. So if you've been ghosted, recognize this, that's a projection, right? That's somebody else's stuff. They're putting that onto you and leaving you with some confused, anxious emotions that don't belong to you. They are the creator of that. So what I'm saying here is to separate yourself from that. If you've been ghosted, don't personalize that. It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about them. This is what I think. Power and control.
Wow.
You're in a game with someone. It's a psychological game. That's their way of having power and control.
How? They're probably jealous and they just don't know how to respond to you because you're doing better than them.
Well, Instagram's passive. A text is not. A personal text is not. They have the upper hand in the relationship because they have the last word.
By them watching my story?
No, by them sending that last text or whatever it is.
Oh. Okay.
Or not sending that last text. Sorry, it's the opposite. It's them not sending that last text and leaving you dangling. That creates them to be the puppet master. They're in control. They're saying, I'm in control of this situation. I'm going to respond when it's good for me. And I'll do it on my time.
You know, my mom has this saying. She always told me, she said, your true friends are not the ones who are around you when you're doing bad. Your true friends are the ones that are around you when you're doing better than them, because they can stand to see you do better than them. And that really stuck with me because when I started to graduate, I got my own place, I got my own car, I started to do better, and some of my friends weren't. Those friends aren't around anymore. Those are the I'm going to look at your story and not respond to anything friends right now, and the one who, you know, so that's, you should really keep that in mind. It's the people who really can stand to see you do well and even better than them. Those are the ones that really, and still support you even though they might not be where you're at. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes people can ghost you because you're just doing better than them and they're jealous and they don't know how to handle their envy inside of them.
But it's to me, it's not even jealousy so much as it's the uncomfortability of watching someone else succeed when maybe they wanted that success for themselves and haven't attained it. And so your success brings up feelings for them of feeling a lack, right? It takes them into a place of lack.
Again, it goes back to them.
It does.
It's all about
100%.
them. You're right. Yeah.
But it's, remember, it's how you make somebody else feel, right?
Yeah.
It's not about you.
It's not.
It's about what you represent to them and what you bring up in them.
It's so interesting that how a simple thing like ghosting a person has such a deep meaning to it. Number one, feeling of abandonment. Number two, feeling not good enough. And number three, projecting that not good enough onto that other person and making them feel like they're the problem.
This also brings up a pathology for me, which we see in a lot of borderline personality disorders, which is sort of the cornerstone of that, which is I'm going to leave you before you leave me.
Yeah.
And that's a way to avoid, we go back to avoidance, abandonment. Because if I leave you before you leave me, then I'm not getting abandoned.
And I have control.
And I'm in control. Exactly.
Yeah. We lie to ourselves quite often. It's very interesting. Well, the moral of the story is that if you get ghosted, it's not your fault. And the people who truly want to see you succeed will be around you, even if you succeed more than they do. So,
and also, like, next time you've been ghosted, just don't take it so personally.
Yeah.
Recognize it's about them and not about you.
Sad.
It doesn't change that it feels like shit.
Yeah.
But just recognize, like, that's their stuff.
Not yours.
Not yours.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Elizabeth.
Thanks, Dr. Irene.